Hi, I'm Dr. Ali Kareen of Kareen Pediatrics. You know, we've done lots of updates on COVID, and I know lots of parents are worried and struggling and trying to figure out what to do with school. And that's our jobs as parents. You know, we worry about our kids, we take care of our kids. I always feel like parents a little bit of a journey, of growth for ourselves as well. And so none of this has been really easy for a lot of people. So for today, I'm actually going to leave the floor to one of our mothers. One of the mothers of our special needs kids who I really want you to hear her story and see how it might relate to your life. So I'll just pass it on to her today.
Hi, I want to tell you a little bit about my daughter. My daughter's 4 and a half, and she was born with an immune deficiency, one lung, and a genetic condition. She spent the first 6 weeks of her life in the NICU and has spent months of her life in the hospital since then. Pretty much every fall and winter, she's hospitalized for something respiratory. She's been on a ventilator, she's coded twice, she's been life flighted. So as you can imagine, COVID brought for us so much anxiety and fear. I remember calling my husband at work, crying in the bathroom, telling him not to come home because he works in a pharmaceutical company, he works in the lab, he cannot work from home, he's considered an essential worker, and I was terrified that he was gonna bring something home. So he moved in with my mom for 6 weeks and he didn't come home. And during that time, we wiped down all of our groceries. We had them delivered. We wiped them all down with bleach. We didn't go anywhere. We didn't see anyone. We did nothing and we were terrified. And then we had an appointment with our pulmonologist. And our pulmonologist, over the video, but she figuratively sat us down and said, you know what, the data is coming in and the data looks so good. Like kids, even high-risk kids, are handling this so well. So, even on a normal year, we have hundreds and hundreds of kids who are hospitalized with flu and RSV. And at that point, only a handful had been hospitalized with COVID, none of whom were in the ICU. And so she said even high-risk kids, even Hannah, would probably do okay if she got COVID. And so my husband came home and we took a step back and we breathed a little bit easier. And in the months since, we have started to let our guard down and we've started to let the kids play with the neighbors. And there is risk and there is fear, and that is something that we have to live with. It's something that I've lived with kind of every day of my life. Like every winter, there's that fear of, am I doing enough? And am I protecting her adequately? And is she gonna be okay? And is this gonna be the decision that ends up getting her sick enough that she dies, right? That's something that I live with every single day. But at some point, I have to let my 4.5-year-old live. I have to let her have friends. I have to let her have a life. And so I'm not here to tell you what decisions to make for your family. I'm just here to tell you that we have talked to specialists and we have talked to our doctors, and they have said, like, the data is in and it is good for kids. And so we have made the decision for our family to let our kids play with the neighbors. And my son is going to school in person. And I know there's risk and I know there's anxiety and I can't take that away from you. But I also it's something that we've had to think about and pray about, but we've come to the decision that we have to let our family live a little. And I know we've talked a lot about, there's been a lot of discussion about masks and can children tolerate wearing them. And I can't speak for every child and I can't speak for your kids, but I just want you to know that my daughter has one lung and an airway the size of a coffee straw, and she can wear a mask. We recently had an appointment at the hospital where she had to be there for 6 hours, and she wore a mask for 6 hours without complaining. And that's something that she's had to do every winter since she turned 2 and was able to wear a mask. Because anywhere we went, she had to wear a mask because that was how to keep her safe. And so I just want you to know that you're not alone in having to wrestle with those ideas of, am I making the right call? And am I doing enough? And am I putting my child at risk? And there's not an easy answer and there's not a perfect solution. But also that living in that fear, in that place of anxiety, and making all of your choices based on fear isn't letting your kids live either.
Thank you so much. And I really wanted you to hear that story today because I know as a pediatrician that I talk to families all the time, and I say to them that if there's one thing about parenting that is true, it is that it humbles us that we are not in control of our lives as much as we would like. That the goal of parenting is to get up each day and do the best you can with the information that you have, and I promise you it won't be perfect. I promise you that you'll make mistakes. I promise you that your children will have things that don't go the way that you'd like them to go. We can't control it all and we can't fix it all, and that is the journey of us as parents. And it's not easy. I think all parents struggle with it in different ways, and COVID has brought to the surface that for people that maybe haven't had to deal with it before, but you will someday. I don't think anybody gets through life without having that struggle at some point. And maybe COVID's been the time that has brought it up for you. But I think you should sit in that moment and just process that from an emotional standpoint of recognizing that we are not actually in control of everything, and that's really hard to come to terms with. So hopefully this has been helpful today, and of course we're available to you with any questions you have about your families and your family's health. You can contact us anytime.